are you in the right place? I hope you are. You are in the right place if you attend network meetings, online or in person. And we are slowly going back to in-person meetings. And you might be asked to give a 1-minute speech. I was talking to, I think it was Mari or Nikki earlier, and they were saying that the first time they went to a networking meeting, they didn't know, but they suddenly had to do this 1-minute speech. And if we're so used to it, we forget that newcomers or people coming to a meeting for the first time aren't prepared, and they're just dropped in at the deep end. And this is why I'm putting on this seminar and want to explore it, because I think when we have bad experiences of our 1-minute pitch, it takes a while to get over that and then become confident. So if your stress levels are heightened, even when you think about delivering a 1-minute pitch, this is the right place for you tonight. You want to make your 1-minute speech as effective as possible. That's the goal. That's what we hope to do and talk about today. And you need to ensure that it's as memorable as possible and it's consistent with your marketing message. That's what the pitch is all about. And if you have a hunger to learn more, to have more confidence, then you see this as an opportunity. And later on, I will be offering an opportunity to go onto a course, and that is going to be accredited to continued professional development standards. I thought I'd tell you a little bit about me. I am a businesswoman. I'm a networker. I love words, books, and authors. And that's particularly pertinent because I actually am dyslexic. I'm an author, a speaker, and a publisher. And I'm a wife, and I'm a mother, and I'm a grandma. But I'm called Lala, just so you know. So what are you going to learn today? You're going to learn the purpose and the importance of the 1-minute speech, what makes a compelling 1-minute speech, how to grow your confidence when you deliver your own speech. And you might not know there are over 15 different themes that you can use in your speech. And you might find that you only use 1 or 2 of them. So there's a whole scope that you can choose from, which livens up your 1-minute speech and actually stops the worry about it because it's going to be unique. And we'll look at how you can move nearer to your perfect pitch. How did I get my start? How did I come to being at the point where I'm thinking I can talk to you about your perfect pitch? Well, lots of people know me through my publishing business or through networking groups or through the book. But I actually started networking when I was working in the charitable sector. I was invited to an Athena Women's Network. And I went through as a manager of a charity to tell them about the charity. This was in 2006 in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire, 15 years ago. I must have taken to it, and I really enjoyed it so much that I bought into the company. So when we moved to Lincolnshire, I bought the franchise for the Lincolnshire area for the Athena network. Because one of the things you have to do when you're in the networking business is go to lots of other networking events. That was how we did it. So I'd done a couple of years. I had decided with Dennis's support to buy the franchise, arrived in Lincolnshire, ready to network. My first networking meeting was in the Lincolnshire Business Club, and I remember it really clearly. I was looking forward to it. I'd driven about 40 miles. I drove into the car park. It was next to the Guildhall, I think. I paid my money for my car park, and I turned around and I watched all these people going into the network event, into the venue. And they seemed to be in more than once. They seemed to be in twos. They were chatting. They all looked as though they knew each other. And I got back in the car and I went home. I didn't go. I'd got that nervous about it, and it was really difficult. And this is somebody who was wanting to make it a business. Don't quite know how I got over that. I think I just had to go pull your socks up and do it, and then have to go very gently because our confidence goes up and down. So sometimes we can do a brilliant 1-minute speech, and the next time we don't do so well. Other things happen in our lives, and we might not be as confident as we were a year ago, or so on. Happily to say, I did conquer whatever was going on that night, and went on, sometimes with confidence, sometimes I had to fake it to make it. But I came out of the franchise, and then I set up my own networking groups. And they were, so the charity spot work, I set up a business women's golf network, because networking on the golf course is incredible and women weren't there. I set up the selling network to help us in that network to get over the fear of selling. Then the recession came. 2008, a lot of the new networking groups just imploded. So I went back in the charity sector as the CEO. But you know, networking doesn't stop when you're a professional. It doesn't stop when you're no longer a business person, because you can network internally. And I did a lot of network. I brought a lot of my networks to that role and developed the charity. 2014, I began a new career. It's great. You can start and pivot new careers in your lifetime. You don't have to stay in just one area anymore. 2020, Zoom arrived because of COVID. And we wouldn't be talking tonight, I don't think, if that hadn't happened. Started a LinkedIn networking group. Stephen Finn's on this call, and we worked together to do that. And I also did a lockdown book on networking, and networking online in particular. And then the one on the right is the book that came from that, which goes to 4,000 students, all developed from networking. So I am thrilled to be looking at networking in a bigger way. But what breaks my heart is watching business people and professionals struggle in networking because of that 1-minute pitch. And the majority of networking groups do a 1-minute pitch. But most time, no one's told them simple things that they can do to improve their pitch. They've been dropped into that deep end. Oh, by the way, you have to do a 1-minute speech in front of these strangers, people you don't know. I mean, public speaking is the #1 fear anyway. And we're saying to people, oh, welcome to our network. By the way, this is what you have to do. Nobody has said, this is how you do it. Few people do, not all. Most times, no one's encouraged them. When's the last time that you've been at a network and you've said to somebody, terrific pitch? Or said to somebody, I like your pitch. I know this about you. I would have loved it if you'd added that. Sometimes we get so involved with our own 1-minute pitch, we forget other people are feeling the same way. And everybody just needs that little bit of encouragement. If we encouraged everyone we met whose pitch we heard, how much better do you think that would get? How much better do you think they would get at having confidence to deliver? And a lot of people have copied somebody who they thought had got it, but they actually hadn't, and therefore they have bad habits. So what is this 1-minute pitch? Well, you might know it by the elevator pitch. 1 minute, 1 minute to win it, persuasive pitch, power speech, long pitch, short pitch. Doesn't have to be 1 minute. Stephen in his network says it has to be a lightning pitch and it has to be 10 seconds. Others I've seen do for 15 seconds, some 30 seconds, and some 40 seconds. And why? It has been proven to be effective. And it's a way to introduce people to you, to your work, to your business, to your service or profession. And as people get to know you better, that 1-minute speech is the quickest way somebody can be introduced about what you do. Why has it evolved with networking? Well, to a lesser or bigger degree, each network event or organizer has its own culture on the way they do it. And I think the 1-minute pitch has evolved with that, so that for some, it's a staple, and for others, they abandon it. But why? Because it starts a conversation. That's all it's about, really. You go to a party and someone goes, oh, let me introduce you to my friend, so-and-so. She does this, that, and the other. But with 1 minute pitch, we're expected to do that for ourselves. You at a party and go, oh, hi, I'm Ladey and I'm a publisher. And it starts a conversation very quickly. And people are there because they want to know who's going to buy my products, whose products do I want to buy, who can I partner with, and how can I make friends with these people? They're the kind of things going on. So why do we find it so hard? Why does it strike fear? And it is full fear into people. You might have your own view on that. If it's about the public speaking side, the actual name of that is glossophobia. And 75% of people suffer from it. Not a surprise. Sweaty hands, feeling all breathless, having a panic attack, all those things. And why? Well, in person, where it started off, you get a microphone, you're expected to do it in front of others. You have a time constraint and you have to stand up. I've seen so many pitches delivered by people having to stand up and they start talking their pitch as they stand up. Nobody can hear it. But public speaking, so they're very quiet in a big room. These are things that actually online networks we don't have to worry about quite so much. There's other things we worry about, but we don't have to worry about projecting our voice and making ourselves heard. So what is the solution? Well, my idea, the solution comes into 3 areas, and they are mindset, knowledge, and practice. Obviously, that is one of the areas that we will look at in more depth when we do the 4-week course with the invitation at the end of the webinar. The other section is knowledge, which comes into this trying to cram everything in at once. When you try and do that, people can't hear you. They can't hear even one message. I do this, I do that, I get faster and faster as I speak, and blah, 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 blah. So it goes. And people go, oh, okay. Who's next? The time when you tell people all about you is on the one-to-one, which is the follow-up. It's not in the 1-minute speech. Do you think you can get the 1-minute speech wrong? Only you know the content. It's content. It's the delivery and it's the presentation. You have control of this. Nobody's telling you what should be in your pitch. So it's finding how to do that. For me, your content makes it almost impossible to get wrong because you're in control of that. Although you wouldn't be here unless you wanted to get that right. But in that 1-minute pitch, you need to think of it, it's a bit like a CV. When you write a CV or a project proposal, you're putting it in front of somebody to get in the door. You're putting it in front of somebody so they give you the interview or they talk more with you. And the 1-minute pitch is exactly the same thing. You're using it as an entry point. So people goes, wow, that's interesting. Yes, I definitely need a follow-up call with you. And that's what they do. So let's work on making it impossible to get it wrong. Because in my mind, if you're in control of it, you actually can't get it wrong. You should know your field of expertise. It is strange, isn't it? You're asked to do a speech for 1 minute. You spend your whole day doing your work. So you know what you do. So why is it so stressful telling people what you do for 1 minute? Is it that time? It could well be. And each person will have a different reason why they've got that block or that boundary. So that is something that needs to be unpicked. But you can't get it wrong because nobody knows what you're going to say anyway. So what you say is right. Nobody knows your work, what you do, how you do it, apart from you. So when you share that, because you're starting a conversation, you can't get it wrong because only you know what you want to say. No one's going to give you marks out of 10. No one's going to go, actually, what you said wasn't right. They can't because it's all about you and your business or your project or what it is that you're wanting people to know about so they can say, I am interested to know more. How much do you include? Well, if you write it down, and I've got a view about writing it down, about 150 words equal a minute. What I say is write it down first, feel comfortable with it, highlight some notes, and then speak it without reading it. if you're on Zoom or online, on Teams, whatever, you can just put a little note, post-it notes with the highlights up on your screen. And then nobody else can see that. And it gives you an aide-memoire, just as though you're doing any speaking. And then you go, oh yeah, I want to put that in my pitch. I need to talk about that. So it's worth knowing how many words make a minute, because then you can choose what you put in and what you take out. It doesn't have to be the same speech every time you go to network. In fact, it's better if you change it. I go to one network, the person says the same pitch every single time. I could almost say it with that person. Am I bored by it? Yeah. Am I learning anything new about it? No. And I'm just thinking, just change. Just tell me something else. Tell me something new. And that's the beauty of the 1 minute pitch. You can play with it. You can do something new. If you read it, I accept, when I first started, I wrote it all down. I probably did read it. But actually, it's a bit like an actor. They have to read it initially, but then they have to memorize it, and then they have to learn it, and then they have to say it. And it's the same with the minute speech. Sorry, folks, but it is. Those who read, what happens is you look down so we don't see your eyes. What happens is you usually speed your voice up, so you're going faster because you're reading, and that's harder to hear. And it turns people off from listening, which is the opposite of what you want. Choose one or two things, make it fun for you. How much fun for you is it reading? Content. Don't know what to put in, want to put everything in, you can't. Maximum 3 points, even 1 point, one theme. Then it can be remembered. People know what you're about because they've got clarity. And it's your job to be clear in your 1 minute speech. It is only an introduction. It's the start of a conversation. Keep that in your mind, and then you don't have to worry about it, because there's going to be time later to talk about other points. But when you talk to somebody, then you're talking to someone who's interested, because they've made a point of saying, liked your speech, want to talk to you more, let's have a call and talk for longer. So how attentive are you when other people give their 1 minute speech? If anyone wants to be honest, give yourself a mark out of 10, or just think, how attentive are you? Sometimes I will put my hand up. If I'm in a networking group and there's less than 8 people, I'm attentive, because I know they can see what I'm doing. So I'm attentive. I'm talking online. If I'm in a group of maybe 50, 60 people and we're doing 1 minute each, not only at the end of that 50 minutes, an hour, I want to slip my wrists, but I actually am not attentive, because I will listen to them and I'll quickly do an email or I'll do something else to keep myself going, because it's impossible to take in that amount of information all at once. In my view, it's great when people do breakout rooms, because that way you have a smaller audience and you can be attentive, because we kind of want to be, really. If we want people to listen to our speech, it's only fair that we listen to that. There's just something to think about. The next time you think, next time I go, do you know what, I'm just going to check what my emails are and pop to LinkedIn and connect with somebody, I'll be thinking, who's speaking and am I being fair to them? Clarity. Clarity is important. If you have more than one project, more than one business, when you do your speech, only talk about one of them. Because when you say, oh, I do this, oh, and I do that, and I do the other, you've confused your audience. You've confused the people who are listening. And they go, well, are you really doing publishing? Are you doing networking? Or are you doing mosaics? Or are you, what is it you want me to interact with you on? I don't get it. So they don't contact you or follow up on anything. So keep to one thing. It's good having more than one business, but when you're talking in that network, keep to the one. The next network, know your audience. As I think John Ferris says, you've got to know your audience and think, oh, my business is better for this audience, then you present that. So you make it clear, because you want to be remembered. I hear this a lot. How many people have heard, oh, you know what I do? How many people have said it? They're in a network, oh, you know what I do? No, they don't. Please don't say it. You might be going to the same network for years. You might be on your 100th pitch to that same network. It's good because you built things up, but give them something new. Don't assume that they know. Because the moment you say, you know what I do, I'm a photographer. Yeah, but they didn't know about that special picture you did for the old lady down the road with her budgerigar, did they? Because they didn't know you were doing pets. They thought you were only doing business headshots. The assumption, take the assumptions out. Just tell people what you do, but don't say, you know what I do, especially now. Now, I'm really excited about this. Online networking has the opportunity to go live. John Ferris is on here. He works with Jason on a network called On Point, and they took the network on live, the live online. This is what excites me about online networking, is it hasn't finished developing. In-person networking has finished developing. It will only be as good as culture and the organizer in person, and it is pretty much stayed. It is what it is. Great, good, but that's it. Online is still finding its feet. It's still finding ways to be innovative. And one of the ways is to go online live. So if your pitch could go to hundreds of people or thousands of people, hands up who would be interested. But, and it is a big but, the thing with live is because it's linking with LinkedIn Live or Facebook Live, you don't know who's watching your pitch. Whereas obviously if you're in a meeting, online or offline, you actually, the people in that room are hearing your pitch, and that's it. It doesn't go anywhere, doesn't really get recorded, which I find incredibly exciting. But if you've made a hash of your pitch, you might not really want the world knowing about it because it's out there on the internet, so you don't know what's going to happen. So a lot of people are trying this. They're not doing it without your permission. Let me make that clear. Those that are playing say, let's try this. If you want to be part of it, great. If you don't, that's fine. You don't have to. But if you are confident in your 1-minute pitch, wherever it goes at any time, how exciting to think what you want to say is going to so many people, because you never know when that email is going to come to you, or a message on LinkedIn or anywhere going, I saw you probably about a year ago on such and such. I actually need your services now. Can we talk? Who wouldn't want a call like that? And this is one of the things that online is moving toward. Let's take away the angst, because there's more things to be anxious about than this. And if you enjoy it, it will come over. Majority of people in their content is about information. So they say what they do. Some people give a testimonial, which is nice. They spend their 1 minute saying, actually, I do this. However, so-and-so, usually in the room, did this for me. So I would be saying my background, Paul Tomset set up for me. He's in the room today, and that would be my testimonial. And if you want a logo, go to him. It's brilliant. That would be a testimonial speech. If I wanted to tell you something personal, I might say, actually, this is my, I don't know, let's go for 5,022 and a quarter speeches that I've ever given on a networking event. And I just want to let you know that when I first started, I was so nervous I didn't do it right, and I did this, 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 and this. That would be a personal story. Or I could give a statistic. So I could give you a statistic about books and publishing, or I could read a question. Or what some people do, and I love it when they do, is in the network, they say, we're going to have a theme. So we want you to do your 1 minute speech in the style of, or referencing all ABBA songs. And that makes it very different how you look at how your speech is. Great fun. And if there's a competition element, I always love that a bit more as well. But it means that your speech transforms. You wouldn't use it everywhere. And also, this is when you can add something else. I do this, I do that, and also I do X, but it would only be one other thing and only used rarely. All of these are different ways you can tell your story. You can give a referral, like I mentioned with Paul just now. You can use it as an education piece. So I want to tell you about book writing, and I'd like to let you know that 80% want to write a book, but actually only 20% do. And you can use a story from the news. So something that everybody just heard. Freedom Day was our UK coming out of COVID restrictions so much on Monday. And you could use that in your 1 minute speech. Freedom Day today, my mask is off, but I'm meeting a customer face to face and we're not going to wear a mask. How great is that? And then you talk a little bit more about what else you do. So you utilize things so that people are going, I want to hear. I can't wait to hear their next speech, because it's always interesting. It's always different. And I learn more and more about that person and their business each time. Kiss off line or catchphrase. For me, this is what you finish with. So people know when you're finished. Your organizer knows when you've finished. I say we change the world one book at a time. A wall with no art is a wall with no heart. I love that one. It's somebody who works with getting pictures to you to cover your walls. And make a date and I'll make you look great. That's from our very own Paul in the room here. You remember them. And you can't wait for the person to say it, so you can almost join in. And that finishes off their 1 minute pitch in quite a nice way. A call to action. What would you like people to do next after hearing your pitch? But you need to be specific. I would like you to give me a ring. I would like you to go to my digital business card. I'd like you to, and tell them what you want them to do. And if they're interested, they will. Remember, it's the start of a conversation. I saw this advert for Square, and it said, business is never one-sided. It's the start of a conversation. And I thought, wow, that is fantastic. And I've started to use it to remind people we're starting conversations. You start a conversation and it's no big deal. Delivery. In person, it might be standing up. You have to look at your breathing. You have to change your voice. You have to have voice control. You have to think how you are delivering the knowledge that you're bringing in your 1 minute speech. Online, it's about your background. Voice control a little bit, but not much, because people can turn you up or down according to their own things, but it's your background. So what is in your background? Is it bed and pants and posters, which is what I say to students? Or have you got palm trees flowing around? Have you got your picture on? Or have you got your logo? So you need to think about your background when you're online. Your voice control, just taking it steady, and the pace that you want to give are all parts of the delivery. And another thing that I think is coming into being more important is a QR code. Here's mine. If you click on that QR code, you'll get to my digital card, which means you can get to my website, my LinkedIn, my Facebook, all my contacts very quickly. I think it's quite exciting. And if you have it in your background, it's there for people to use. You don't even have to put a link in the chat. They can just get it immediately. And I think this is the way for the future. So again, think about that breathing, standing up. Most people are sitting. I'm actually standing up. I can move around here. I've got a standing up desk. It's helped me actually sleep better at night, because, and I do spend all day standing up now instead of sitting down. When you stand up to give a speech, you've got better airways. Those are in the voice coaches will soon say it really, really helps. And it gives you confidence. And it's all about that confidence about giving your speech. So when did you last practice your 1 minute speech? Do you record it? Do you then not self-criticize to pull it apart and think yourself rubbish? That practice is really quite important. Have you timed yourself with a stopwatch? Because when an organizer gives you 1 minute, that's what they mean. They want you to have 1 minute. Online, it's easy because you go over 1 minute and they just mute you. In person, it's hard to stop people. You really need to think, the more you practice something, the better you get at it. We know that. It's the same with your 1 minute. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a very long practice. It can just be, what am I going to put in this? What sort of things do I want to say? And then you just make sure you put that in there. Measuring your network. Do you measure it? Is it time to practice measuring that? What you measure, you can know what you can do with. You can even decide whether it's the right networking event that you are attending, because it's all return on investment. It's all about time and money. And are you putting your speech to the right people? We've looked at the purpose and the importance, like starting that conversation. We look about what makes compelling 1 minute, your content, call to action, or your kiss off line. How to grow your confidence, touched on it. There's so much more to work on that, but a lot of it is your mindset. And if you can look at your paper and think, yeah, that's my opinion, that's my viewpoint on how I feel about my 1 minute speech, but I love it anyway. So keep telling yourself, but you love it anyway. And then sooner or later, that top line might change. You might put something else in. Choosing different themes and techniques. Quite clever on how we do that. And I've had a lovely comment in the chat because of that. And we will practice. That might be a C, Mary, that one. I don't know, you can tell me. How to move nearer to your perfect pitch. You have to practice. So, why have you spent this time? We just spent an hour together. It's been great. I've loved it. I hope you have too. But are you here because you want to attract more business and have more one-to-one follow-ups when you network and give a 1 minute speech? Maybe you're here because you want to have that confident, compelling 1 minute speech, but you're unsure on how to go about it. At the thought of having to do a 1 minute pitch, if this is you, what I'm going to offer now is the course. I've set up a course and I'd love to invite you onto it. I've packaged all my years, and we've just said that's 15 years plus, into a simple step-to-step formula to show you how to perfect your 1 minute speech, how to build your confidence and deliver your 1 minute speech as a compelling every single time. That's what we would be working on in the 4-week course. You know, with that time, I can do far more in supporting and mentoring and helping you than I can just in this very quick webinar. So the question is, are you going to apply for today's training? You can go the slow way, trying to figure it out yourself and spending 15 years or more until you go, oh, right, I get it now. It's just a conversation and I don't need to be fearful and worry about it. If you do it yourself, are you risking having an ineffective, not as full potential speech as you could? Or the fast way is to learn more up-to-date methods to move towards your perfect pitch. At your next networking event, will you remember some from this webinar and what techniques to use? Or will you be going, I know what Ladey said, I know what I can try, I'm going to do this? Because with the course, it's going to be very full on, but it's going to mean that you can practice how you deliver and we can play with it in a safe place. So you don't need to worry. So you might think, is this for me? Well, I went from walking away from the network event because I had no confidence to now, yeah, I think I could do it in my sleep. But I've had thousands of tries, thousands and thousands of tries. So if you participate in the Perfect Pitch Mastermind course, you can do the same. It's going to be more than a course. The reason it's a mastermind course is because we will make it into a networking course. So not only will you be trying out new ways of doing your perfect pitch, your colleagues will also be giving feedback. I'll be giving feedback and we'll be saying, you tried it this way or do that. I could hear it better because we are the ones that are receiving your speech. So we are great for giving you that feedback to say, this is what I heard. Is that what you wanted me to hear? And we can really talk it through. It's over 4 weeks. It's a 2-hour session on Zoom every Wednesday night through August, 7 to 9 British summertime. There's going to be limited course members. I'm only taking 15 on the course. because I want to make sure that we have time to hear your 1 minute at least once, if not more, so we can give that feedback. There's limited time. We are going to close this by the end of July, but by that time we might have people already and you might lose your spot. And it's a limited opportunity for webinar attendees or those who have registered as well. This is what the value is. This is what the course is going to be about. It's going to be about transforming your current 1 minute speech into one you've always dreamt about in a safe environment. We're going to have 4 modules, 1 per week, where we're looking at mindset, knowledge theory, and including your content and your delivery. And we're going to have it continually professional development accredited. Value for that is the 1,200, or the dollars is 1,643. What are you getting in the course? You're going to get tools and training to measure your networking activity. So this will be the Balanced Networking Scorecard, but I will be going in more depth on how you use it. So it's an effective tool that you can use. And it will really transform the way that you do your networking. Value there, $500 or $685. You will receive direct feedback from myself and your course peers, which then brings it into almost a networking way as well. So that's 15 people that you will know more about and know whether they want your services and you want yours. I call this priceless. And whether you count that in dollars or pound notes, it's still priceless. And I'm going to give bonuses in the course. So there's going to be over £200, $274 worth of bonuses. Time to network every single week. Additional download. You download your 1 minute speech. So I will be sending what we've learned to you. You can have the electronic version of this book. I'm going to give that to you too. And I'm going to buy everybody who comes on this course their own digital business card, which means they will get, if anyone's clicked into my QR code, that's what you will get as part of the course. But obviously it'll be your name in the middle. And you will also get QR codes which you can then use as part of your background. What's on offer? It's transforming your 1 minute. It's the tools and the training. It's the bonuses. It's the CPD accredited course, and it's feedback. Total value, I reckon, is just under that £2,000 mark, or just over 2,000 if it's dollars. I am saying today until the closing date, or until we have 15 people on board, it'll be available to you for £297. The dollars has a more range because it depends on the interest. It depends what's happening with the currency. So when I first put it in, it said it was $410. And then when I put it in today, it said 406. But the other thing is, if you're in business, this course is tax deductible. It's part of your continued professional training. But I will emphasize, if you leave it till the last moment of the 28th of July at 10 o'clock, those seats might already be taken. So this is how you do it. This is how you enroll today. This is the link, and this will send you to the page where you can book your course, place, and then we will talk more. So it's a short window. Join as soon as you can so somebody doesn't take your seat. I've just got a few testimonials. This is from Claire Bicknell, who runs the Katina Network, one of the ones, my favorite ones that I do recommend. And I gave a presentation to that network, and she said, she didn't know about those 15 types of 1 minute pitch. Jason, Point Networking, a lovely testimonial for me saying that not only do I run business networks, I'm an author, a publisher, and I'm supportive of other businesses. And that's what you'll get out of the course. My full support in your business and what you're wanting to achieve. And Mark Orr, who has an incredible network, but not for the faint-hearted. And he has given me a testimonial because I did bravely give some 10-minute tips on online networking at his growth club. And he wants me back, which is always beautiful. So this is definitely for you, this course. If you're an entrepreneur or a professional who use network meetings, and it doesn't matter whether it's online or in person. If you market yourself this way, this could exponentially increase your client base. And it's about your field of expertise. Whatever field you're in, you need people to know about it, because otherwise, how do you get clients? If you don't have clients, you don't have a business. And at the bottom of that, the 1 minute speech can be all part of it. There is a money back guarantee. If you start the course and something's not quite right, we give you your money back. No quibble, no questions, we just do it. Let the question and answer session begin.